Alright, this is Cables 54 by Joe Kelly and José Ladrönn. I promised I'd review this ages ago, so here we are. This is Cables teaming up with Black Panther. It is a single issue story, standalone. If you're a fan of Cables or Black Panther, you will want to get this one. It is brilliant stuff, and we have one of them gatefold recap pages, and they clearly didn't have enough to fill it up. The only backstory you need to know is that at the end of the last story, Cables, he was caught in a big explosion and he got tossed across the planet, and he has landed in Black Panther's magic straw utopia, Hollywood. The artist for this run, José Ladrönn, he is best described as a Jack Quimby tribute act. He is really good, but everyone can plainly see how heavily Jack Quimby's style has influenced his art. Jack Quimby, he co-created Black Panther, and then in the 70s he wrote and drew a Black Panther book. So this year it's like old home week. You're getting to see Black Panther and Hollywood drawn once again in the style of Jack Quimby. I am surprised that Marvel still haven't done an omnibus of Jack Quimby's Black Panther. Lucky for Cables though, Hollywood is full of saints, and they immediately take care of him, and he heals up, and he gets to meet the Black Panther. I call Mr. Shenanigans on this. They act like they have not only never met before, but they have no awareness of each other. Firstly, I would like to think that Cables, who's meant to be like a great strategist, I didn't believe for a second that Cables, he would be unaware of this major world leader governing a paradise on Earth. Secondly, I didn't believe that Cables, he would have just forgotten about seeing Black Panther and several other heroes perish fighting Onslaught Man only a year before this. And on top of all that, I don't for a minute believe that Cables has never heard of the Avengers before, or that at the opposite end of the spectrum, Black Panther would speak of the Avengers like they are not that well known. This is a very standard, simple team-up. Very good if you like either or both of these characters. We have got some subplot pages catching us up with the book's ongoing arcs and characters. We have got the hot reporter lady. I think she is called April O'Neil or something like that. And then Cables' mentor, Blake Smith. Then we have got all the classic Hollywood stuff, with them being a straw utopia and perfect, even though they still adhere to slavery and mining and an antiquated monarchy. I am not a fan of Hollywood. They refuse to share the cure to cancer with the White Devil. So it turns out black lives, they didn't matter if they are not in Hollywood and have cancer. There is a lot of stuff about Hollywood's politics and its class system. Quite impressive how much Black Panther stuff they squeezed into this issue of Cables. It feels more like a Black Panther comic, to be honest. We have got our baddie for this episode, Andy Serkis, looking really excellent here. Looks good, drawn by José Ladrönn, really good. One of them characters that just look much better in the more Jack Quimby style. Then we have got some soul searching with Cables, and this time Black Panther, he jumps in to offer his input and explain to the reader that these two characters, they are not so different. Completely pointless. You can do that with any two characters. You can find some way to argue that they are similar. Here's some big machinery and trippy imagery in the vein of Jack Quimby. Reading this, it is a bit of a shame that this creative team, they never did a Black Panther book. Joe Kelly, he did a good Black Panther story in Avengers as well. They both seem like a good fit for a Black Panther book that embraces the more Jack Quimby elements, but also appropriates the more modern political intrigue aspects. But the main course here is the fight with Andy Serkis. He is predictably trying to overthrow Black Panther and shit like that. So first we have got Cables. He's going to have a fight with Andy Serkis. I also quite like the application of Andy Serkis's powers. He kills people by bursting their eardrums and causing neural failure. So it is Cables versus a villain that he hasn't fought before. And Cables' psychic powers, they are useless in this fight because Andy Serkis, he is made up of CGI. Then Black Panther, he eventually jumps in to join this fight. Traditional team-up fare, two heroes fighting against a baddie. It's nice to see that Black Panther, he gets to be the one to defeat Andy Serkis. Even though it is Cables' book, it would feel disrespectful to Black Panther to have someone else come along and defeat his arch enemy. They do work together to that end though. Cables, he holds him in place when Black Panther does some big super science to make Andy Serkis' CGI form dissipate. And then Cables, he loves Hollywood so much that he doesn't even want a gun home. He's like a kid at Butland's. My anaconda does not want none unless you got buns, hun. This run on Cables is great. I recommend it, and especially if you are a Black Panther fan, I recommend this issue. Cables, he does admittedly take a backseat to a lot of Black Panther lore and mythos. It feels more like Cables is being utilised as a vessel to explore this corner of the Marvel world, but it's definitely a good issue. I rate it 7 thumbs up.